Hey everybody, it's Jenna. First off, thank you so much for the response to my Silver Age video. It has become my most viewed video yet by a mile, and it has helped me cross 10,000 followers, which is an honor in so many ways. It felt kinda daunting trying to figure out what topic I would tackle next, especially with a pretty interesting stream of news over the past few days, all of which I will cover at some point or another. But then it hit me. Why do we keep debating Sue Storm's hair? It feels like every single time a new piece of footage has been released for the Fantastic Four First Steps, most recently the genuinely lovely NBA tie-in videos which show off their chemistry so well, a chorus of people begin to nitpick Vanessa Kirby's hairstyle, arguing that she should have a beehive or some other massively voluminous hairstyle that people conjure in their minds when they think of the 1960s. I don't entirely disagree with those comments, but surprise, surprise, I think there are a number of reasons why we ultimately got the hair that we did. For starters, it still isn't out of the realm of possibility that we could still see Sue in that kind of prototypical 60s hairstyle. We've still only seen a very small fraction of the movie itself, and her hair changes so wildly from the flashbacks of them going up to space, to her pregnancy reveal, to the 7 p.m. dinner scene when she appears to already be pregnant, to the second space flight and the action of the movie. Not to mention, when I saw the first sizzle reel at San Diego Comic-Con last year, Sue's hair was up in a ponytail in multiple sequences where she now has short hair, meaning they intentionally went back and reshot some scenes to give her the shorter hair. I have not, for the life of me, been able to string together that timeline of events in relation to Sue's hair, which means that there could very well be scenes of her with another option altogether. And even if there isn't, I don't see this as one of the rare instances of First Step's attention to detail being lazy or missing the mark, for multiple reasons. The first reason is, hair in the 1960s had way more variety and micro trends than our modern day popular culture seems to suggest, short or long, helmeted or free-flowing. By the end of the decade, the rising counterculture also led to a, quote, rejection of societal norms and a championing of self-expression through hair, which diversified the options even further. We can see this late 60s variety in Sue wearing headbands and in some of the group shots, as extras are rocking beehives or 60s bobs, but not exclusively. And even then, First Steps has never claimed to be a straightforward 1960s period piece, but rather a, quote, 1960s inspired retro-futuristic world. Marvel Studios CEO Kevin Feige first confirmed as much on the official Marvel podcast, saying, quote, there was a cityscape in the corner of that image, and there were a lot of smart people who noticed that cityscape didn't look exactly like the New York that we know and the New York that existed in the 1960s in our world. And those are smart observations, I'll say. Director Matt Shakman soon followed this up with, quote, we're not just doing the 60s, we're doing retro-future 60s. It's part of what you know from the 60s, but part of what you've never seen before. As someone who has been campaigning for First Steps to be a 60s period piece for literal years, it's honestly fascinating to see where the movie is already unabashedly 60s and where it's adapting a more modern sensibility. We're already seeing that in the approach to character, which I've already made a whole video about, and in certain anachronistic things that modern audiences already have a visual language for. That approach is also probably going to help a lot once the team jumps over to Doomsday and Secret Wars, bumping elbows with heroes who exist in the MCU's own odd modern status quo. And let's be honest, we already have a weird relationship with superhero hair, both in the comics and in their adaptations. In addition to preserving, or maybe flat out ignoring, a hero's secret identity, their hairstyle has to strike a balance between being visually interesting and easy enough to repeat, not just by the original artist in different scales and scenes, but in the art styles of different artists, or in a massive group shot where every character is trying to stand out. Over time, there's been room for more creativity and ambition with those designs as the printing process, the capabilities of the artists, and simply the trends of the time have grown. Sometimes a character gets a hairstyle that essentially follows them for years, other times a new artist and a new rebooted costume leads to some sort of change immediately. But either way, hair has equally been seen as an afterthought and as a storytelling necessity, a way to show motion or personality in a two-dimensional medium. Superhero adaptations have tried to find this balance as well, while also being confined by the costuming and hairstyling trends of the time, and the fact that audiences are going to subconsciously view a live-action person differently than a fictional comic character. Along the way, we've gotten plenty of bright red wigs, or ill-fitting flashback wigs, or hairstyle routines that are genuinely so impractical once you stop and think about them. We've also gotten, especially amid the superhero boom of the 21st century, a lot of female superheroes wearing their hair down in a similar sort of flowing, wavy style, even during an intense fight scene. Similarly to the comics, it was used to convey motion and personality, with Camille Friend, hair department head on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Black Panther, and Captain Marvel, explaining in 2018 that, quote, in the history of superhero women in comic books, the hair has always been drawn down and flowing. When you see them in action or flying, you want to be able to see the hair moving freely with the hair in constant motion. While we have gotten a better variety and a lot more hair ties in the superhero adaptations of the 2020s, there's still a time and a place for certain characters to wear that wavy hairstyle. This brings me back to Sue, and the history of her hair both in the comics and beyond. Co-creator Jack Kirby usually drew Sue with that sort of prototypical short curly bob, which even then was drawn in slightly different ways from issue to issue. It was on trend for the 60s, but it was also most likely for the sake of visual convenience convenience, as it could be drawn pretty simply while the visuals really focused on everyone's complicated superpowers or on Ben Grimm's rocky exterior. As the decades went on and other artists provided their take on the Fantastic Four, Sue's hair began to have a bit more variety. A curly ponytail here, a shag there, and varying degrees of long and short haircuts. Her hair also varied wildly across different animated series, across the live-action movies, including whatever was going on with Kate Mara's wigs in Fan Four Stick, and most recently in her debut in Marvel Rivals. Again, these different hairstyles reflected the times, but when done right and coupled with her costume and her powers and her actual arc as a character, they still read as Sue regardless. I think this is why the discourse about Sue's hair in First Steps has felt so odd to me. It's not that people have negative opinions about something, because I do think that fandom should be a place to look critically at the things that you love. Hell, that's what this entire channel is for, to an extent. But there's a difference between genuine analysis and fishing for something to nitpick, and then nitpicking that same thing over and over again, with only a fraction of context as to what the full movie will bring. The way that Vanessa Kirby talks about playing Sue, and the snippets we've already seen of her powers and her relationship with her teammates, genuinely have the potential to be the best take on the character that we have ever seen on screen. If that's the case, it shouldn't matter at the end of the day what her hair looks like. What do you think of Sue's hair in Fantastic Four First Steps? Do you have a favorite superhero hairstyle? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends if you haven't already done so. Merch is available at the link in the description. As always, you can find me on social media at Hey It's Jenna Lynn. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, go read some comics.